Okay, let's see if this is going to work today. See if the signal is going to be good enough to do this today. Yeah, quite amazing. Let's see if this is coming up. Trying to reconnect. Comments will appear here. Here we go. Here's everyone. Good afternoon, kia ora everybody. Well, what an interesting morning it's been for us. We've been at it hardcore since early this morning in the Advanced New Zealand NZPP team. Yes, good morning, Blair, Edward, kia ora, Lydia, kia ora, Mariel, Hamish. Look, I'm going to crack into it because we've got lots to do today. Right, as you know, Talawhiti, as you can see that today Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced a delay of the elections until the 17th of October. That's pushed things back quite a bit, a month. That may seem not a greatly long period, but with the way that things are happening in our country, a month is a long time. Our movement's been going for 2 months, and that seems like forever. But it deeply concerns me that that the government has announced this. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Rehua. And what we need to ask ourselves really is how much of this are we going to take. So we need to remain calm. We need to remain balanced. But at the same time, there is a point where you've got to ask yourself, how much are we going to take as free New Zealanders, as free thinking people? There are some very serious questions that need to be asked that we've been asking the government, and we still don't have the requisite and adequate replies to. And I'm really concerned that this government is making massive decisions without consulting the New Zealand people about it properly, and also being transparent. We know they're not being transparent. We know that there are requests from other parties within Parliament for information that is not forthcoming. Chris Hipkins, the Minister of Health, Ashley Bloomfield have not been consistent with each other in the stories that they tell. Ashley Bloomfield, of course, said last week there was a case of COVID-19 at Pakuranga College, which sent the entire school into meltdown mode, and that was proved to be completely out of whack and untrue, with the principal and the local MP jumping on that big time. But still no official response from the government to requests for information, explaining why this is happening, and also dealing with a couple of the other elephants that are in the room that we need to handle and look at. So I'm going to go into a couple of things here. I just posted a few minutes ago some information from the COVID Plan B team, led by Professor Simon Thornley of Auckland University, who I'm a great fan of. One of his colleagues, Dr. Gerhard Sundown, was on Kerry McIver's show the other day on News Talk, and gave a sterling quick summary about what his views were as to the government's response to dealing with this crisis. And if you start to line it up, what our guys are saying in the Plan B team, and also what's echoing around the world now, you know, there are serious questions that this government needs to answer, and they've got it wrong, and they need to be upfront about that. Or in effect, I believe that the way that they're behaving and following faulty information from overseas, it's bordering on treason. And I think what we need is a People's Commission, an independent commission led by Simon Thornley and his team, to investigate the response by this government, because it's all seeming very wrong. Now, during the weekend, of course, Minister Hipkins released another order emanating out of the COVID-19 health response bill, and that is for mandatory testing at the ports of Auckland and ports of Tauranga. And I've heard from contacts in Tauranga saying who work at the wharf, saying they're not going to do it, they're not going to stand for it. And I would say that having a bunch of strong wharf workers rising up and saying no, they're not going to do this, is going to pose potentially some interesting occurrences at the wharf. They try and make these men and women take these tests that they don't want. You know, I would say fair go if people feel sick. If you feel sick and if you think you've had exposure to the virus, we need to be careful. Go and get checked out. But that leads us to the next issue with the PCR gear. Now, the PCR gear is, as we've been saying, has been now exploited around the world as having major issues with it. I posted something yesterday that basically said that the designer, rest his soul, actually designed this for the PCR test for different purposes. It wasn't designed for what it's being used for today, and that's something that we need to keep in mind. So if there are serious questions being asked about the PCR test around the world, and we're still using it, that really makes me want to question how the heck can we keep our people in the community safe if there's an issue with the testing equipment. And if there's any doubt as to the validity of the testing equipment, they need to remove it and find something else that is going to honestly and test for this virus, identify it and protect our community and protect our people in the community. And we can't do that if we're getting false positives, of which the PCR tests as they are now can deliver up to 80% false positivity. Now I'm very, very blessed as that I've got a wonderful woman, a doctor that's helping me with some of our research. She's globally recognised, and she's equipping me with really, really good information, and she wants to make sure that whatever we say that has proof to it, and that is easy to understand, so that we can all understand how dreadful the government's response is to this response, that it's not based on proven solid fact, and that we need to protect our community with proven solid facts. It's as simple as that. So the other thing that we need to talk about is actually the lethality of the disease. As I've been saying in my live broadcasts, that it's now clear around the world, including from the WHO itself, that the initial projections of the deadliness, if you like, of the virus are completely faulty, completely dishonest and discredited. Okay, this is not a disease that's going to kill you with any more risk than flu. Let's look at some figures. WHO have come out and said it's between 0.5% and 1% lethal. That is a long way back from what it was when they first announced this pandemic. But what we have here on covidplanb.co.nz is a very, very good breakdown on the numbers affecting people who are at risk, and also a breakdown of the risk factor to just ordinary people like you and I. So I've posted the initial piece of written material that we screenshot from the covidplanb.co website, but I just want to really want to quote this. Now we even have the Center of Disease Control in the US using 0.65, let me say that again, 0.65% as a working estimate as to the deadliness of the disease. This is derived from a summary page of 26 individual studies. So this is a broad study. This revised figure is in the scale of severe influenza. So this revised figure is in the scale of influenza, and scales down the threat of the virus to just above that of seasonal influenza. These estimates don't take into account more information about T cells, which now show an even wider exposure to the virus than from antibodies alone. This means that even these revised estimates are very conservative and should be lower still. In New Zealand, it is clear from looking only at cases that risk of fatality is higher for older people, which we knew. People aged over 90 years have not fared well after infection. We have now had no deaths from the virus in people aged under 59 years. So what that tells us is what people have been saying from the very beginning, is that if you're elderly, you need to be very careful. If you have a comorbid disease that makes you unwell, be careful, just like you would with the threat of catching pneumonia or the threat of catching any serious flu. I mean, you've got to be careful of anything that you catch, and you've got to make sure that your immune system is strong, that you're taking vitamin supplements, lots of vitamin C, getting your vitamin D, your zinc, all that. And this is the stuff that I do every day, which has kept me going while I deal with all the stress and fatigue that I deal with. If it wasn't for those, I'd be in serious trouble. But this piece of information here tells us 0.65% from the Center of Disease Control in the US, and that they admit it should even be lower still. Now that tells us that what we're dealing with here is an equivalent virus of the influenza, of the flu that we get each year in New Zealand. Question one, have we closed down our borders, our economy, and destroyed freedoms because we have the flu here in New Zealand? No. No, we don't. Last year we had between 500 and 1,000 flu virus related deaths, and we didn't close down any businesses, destroy any lives, and this is what this government is doing, and they need to be held accountable, family. This is deeply serious. It's impacting on everyone. But what I'm seeing now from all the messages I'm getting from people today is that people aren't going to take this. I want to ask everyone to be calm, but I can see a tsunami of resistance across the country if they do this. We've had other intelligence guys that I'm not going to go into today that's had us concerned. I do want to say this, that we had information from within the beehive from a week ago. My colleague Michael Stace has got it written down in his notebook from the source, saying that the date of 17th of October would be the amended date for the elections. Now, we didn't want to post that then because I said no. Because why? Because we'd already said that we would expect the second lockdown around the second week of August. That's happened. We said about the militarisation. That's happened. But I was a little cautious to expose that at the time. So what we're going to do now, we've decided we're going to cautiously review intel that we get, and we're getting more information from the military coming our way, which has got me deeply concerned. And what we're going to do is we're going to think it through and release it. I've already passed on the military documents that I was given a few weeks ago to a media contact who's reviewing the best way to handle the release of the information on those. And it's concerning, family. I'm not going to hide it from you. It's concerning. We need to know what we're dealing with here. We need to be careful with each other, look out for each other, and we need to just watch this government very, and we need to help people wake up. What's happening here? There's nothing more sure than the fact that people are waking up. They're seeing the destruction. They're seeing the economic destruction, the freedoms destruction. And what's happening is more information is being found in the media and through broadcasts like this, where we have highly credible people, New Zealand experts such as Simon Thornley and his team, exposing the error and the way that this government is responding in its management of this crisis. But not only that, also exposing that this government is using faulty information. And that's got to be kept in view, guys, because they are out of control. This information that we've received from the military people has got me quite worried. I've got to find out what to do with it, and seek other people that I know to get to the validity of it. Because if it's true, the militarisation of our country is going to continue. Got me worried, and that's not to set fear out there. But now, and my team agrees with me. If we take these things to light, then hopefully we can modify the government's behaviour, because they know we're onto them. I know for a fact that the government is watching our broadcasts, watching what we're doing and watching what we're saying, and I know that it's rattling them. So we need to keep this up. We need to keep a firm footing on facts. We need to stay calm and not make rash decisions to do anything. And I just want to say to all of you out there, please, if you have any deep concerns and fears in that, please reach out for help. Please reach out to people that can help you. You're not alone in this. There are people in the medical world that are counsellors that can help. There are whānau people that can help. I'm here to help. My number is 021 138 7005. There you go, 021 138 7005. Don't bombard me all at once. But if you feel you've got no one to talk to and you're feeling at risk, if you're feeling scared that you might make rash decisions, please give me a call. We don't want to have any more dangerous activities and actions than what we are dealing with here. But we're going to get through this together. Why? Because we are waking up together as a family. This movement, Advance New Zealand, you want to see how far and fast we are expanding and growing. It's unbelievable. Even we are blowing out. We've crossed over 1 million engagements in 1 week. The membership thing is just out of control. We can't even keep up with it now. We've got different platforms that we're using to count membership, and we can't keep up with them. So Please, if you haven't, please go to nzpp.org.nz, sign up as members, please donate to our cause, and please, if you haven't already, volunteer to hand out our flyers, volunteer to take our billboards. Obviously, we're having a hard time getting our billboards up in Auckland, but we're getting them out everywhere else. So, guys, I'm going to leave that where it is for now. Please go to the other website that I'm talking about, which is the covidplanb.co.nz. covidplanb, one word, .co.nz. Please go to it, check it out. You're going to see a lot of the information in there that's going to really, really make you think, because this stuff is it's all wrong. You know what we're seeing here, and I think New Zealand is waking up to it. So please take care out there. Please share this information as you can, and let's stand together against this tyranny. Let's be committed together as one family to do that, and let's stay awake. Advance New Zealand voice, your power, your party and movement. God bless everyone. I'll update you again tonight. Kia ora.